Figurative Expression Study Guide. Figures of thought, or tropes, alter the standard or literal meaning of words to create vivid imagery, unexpected meanings, or dramatic effect. Irony, a contrast between expectation and reality, or between what is said and what is meant. Verbal irony occurs when a speaker says one thing but means the opposite or something significantly different. Simple verbal irony, saying something other than what is literally meant without intending to harm or mock. For example, looking at a downpour and saying, "What nice weather we're having." Sarcasm, a sharp, biting, or caustic form of verbal irony intended to mock, insult, or express contempt. For example, telling someone who dropped a plate, "Oh, brilliant job." Hyperbole, an intentional extreme exaggeration used for emphasis or dramatic effect, not meant to be taken literally. For example, "I've told you a million times." Understatement, deliberately making a situation seem less important, serious, or impressive than it actually is. For example, describing a Category 5 hurricane as a bit of a breeze. Litotes, a specific form of understatement that expresses an affirmative idea by negating its opposite. For example, "He's not the sharpest tool in the shed," or "It wasn't bad." Paradox, a statement that appears self-contradictory or absurd on the surface but reveals a deeper truth upon reflection. For example, "The line is longest when it's shortest," or "less is more." Situational irony occurs when the actual outcome of an event is strikingly different from what was reasonably expected. Simple irony of a situation, a fundamental discrepancy between expectation and reality in an event. For example, a fire station burning down. Anticlimax, a sudden shift from a serious, grand, or climactic idea to something trivial, ridiculous, or mundane, creating a sense of disappointment. Dramatic irony occurs when literature or drama, when the audience of a reader knows vital information that the characters do not. Allusion is an indirect or brief reference to a well-known person, place, historical event, literary work, or piece of art. For example, "He met his Waterloo," referring to Napoleon. Analog- Analogical expression, language that connects or compares concepts based on shared attributes. Metaphor, the inclusive sense, an umbrella category for all non-literal comparisons between two distinct ideas or objects. Metaphor, narrow sense, a direct comparison stating one thing is another without using connective words like or as. Example, "Time is a thief." Simile, a comparison of two unlike things using explosive connective words such as like or as. "Brave as a lion." Metonymy, a figure of speech in which one word or phrase is substituted for another which is closely associated. Example, "The White House issued a statement," where White House stands for the U.S. president or administration. Synecdoche, a specific figure of speech in which a part is used to represent the whole or vice versa. For example, "Check out my new wheels," where wheels represents the car. Reification, treating an abstract concept, idea, or non-physical entity as if it were a concrete physical object. For example, "He grabbed hold of his sphere." Animism, attributing living or animal qualities, behaviors to non-living or inanimate objects. For example, "The wind howled through the trees." Personification, giving distinctly human emotions, intentions, or characteristics to non-human things or abstractions. For example, "Opportunity knocked on the door." Apostrophe, directly addressing an absent person, a dead person, an abstract concept, or an inanimate object as if present and capable of responding. For example, "O death, where is thy sting?" Analogy, an extended comparison between two different things used to explain or clarify a complex idea by highlighting similarities. Allegory, a narrative in which characters, settings, and plot events systematically represents abstract moral, political, or philosophical meanings beyond the literal story. For example, George Orwell's Animal Farm. Symbol, a tangible object, person, or situation that retains its literal meaning while representing a broader abstract concept. For example, a dove symbolizing peace. Fiction, an invented or imagined story created to convey truths about human experience rather than historical facts. Figures of syntax. They focus on the arrangement, ordering, and structural alignment of words within phrases and sentences. Balance. Constructing sentences or clauses with equal or symmetrical grammatical structures to create rhythm and emphasis. For example, buy low, sell high. Antithesis. Placing two contrasting or opposing ideas side by side using parallel grammatical structures. For example, to err is human, to forgive divine. Chasmus, a grammatical structure in which words or concepts are presented, then repeated to reverse order. For example, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Figures of sound, or rhetorical sound devices, manipulate phonetic patterns to enhance mood, musicability, and memorability. Alliteration, the repetition of initial consonant sounds in closely positioned words. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck. Consonants, the repetition of internal or ending consonant sounds in close proximity. For example, the slithering snake struck. Assonance, the repetition of identical or similar vowel sounds in nearby words. Example, the rain in the Spain falls mainly on the plain. Rhyme, the correspondence or matching of ending sounds in words. For example, cat, hat. Onomatopoeia, words that phonetically imitate the natural sound associated with the action or object they describe. For example, buzz, sizzle, pop, crash. Euphony, a pleasing, smooth, and harmonious combination of sounds. Cacophony, a harsh, jarring, or discordant combination of sounds. Meter, the structured rhythmic pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables in verse. Type by kind of foot. Iambic, unstressed then stressed. Above. Trochaic, stressed and unstressed. Poet. Anapestic, unstressed, unstressed, stressed. Understand. Dactylic, stressed, unstressed, unstressed. Elephant. Spondaic, stressed, stressed. Downtown. Pyrrhic, unstressed, unstressed. This is a rare foot using between heavier feet. Type of feet by number. Manometer, 1 foot per line. Diameter, 2 feet per line. Trimeter, 3 foot per line. Tetrameter, 4 foot per line. Pentameter, 5 foot per line. Hexameter, 6 foot per line. Heptameter, 7 foot per line.